essentially the Andromeda update totally changed meta advertising. But what I want to highlight here is, I think after experimenting with the so-called the Andromeda structure with some of my clients for a few months, what I must say here is it doesn't work for everyone. Interesting, right? Because we thought that it's supposed to work for every business and all, but then again, I think I'm still seeing about like a 30 to 40% of my clients are not really seeing significant improvement with the Andromeda campaign. As in, like, now when it comes to Andromeda structure, this is a new structure where we put a lot of ads within the same campaign and same ad set. Because what Andromeda wants us to do is they want to have a variation of ads, as in like a portfolio of ads instead of single ads in them. What they want us to do is they want the number of ads or the volume of ads targeting different customer persona, so that they can really optimize the campaign to match the ad to the customer persona and the customer journey. I would say at the very beginning, a couple of my clients, and in fact, quite a number of my clients were doing really great. But recently, a few of my clients are actually kind of like not seeing as good because we're still maintaining two sets of campaigns running at the same time. It seems like the Andromeda may not be working that well after a few months. So we're still observing. I believe it could be because of the, like the algorithm is still stabilizing, or the so-called the AI mechanism or the machine learning system at the back is still, like stabilizing and all. But then again, that's what I probably want to update you. So if you're not familiar with the Andromeda, you can actually check back to some of the videos that I talk about Andromeda. But then again, if you have any questions regarding meta advertising, this is what we do here. This is my Ask Jason Anything. It's like weekly live where I go live every Sunday night, essentially between 10 p.m. or 10 to 11 p.m. Malaysia time, where I will go live for 30 minutes to answer questions that I receive from my community. So if you have any questions regarding meta advertising, Facebook advertising, Instagram advertising, or even essentially digital marketing, all you need to do is just to first, I would recommend that you go to my YouTube channel and try to search for an answer, because I actually answer questions for the past 5 years. This is episode 222. You can imagine 222 episodes down the road, which means we've been doing this for about like 5 years. In fact, 5 years. Anyway, so I've answered a lot of questions regarding meta advertising. So try to search for it. Chances are I probably have covered something similar to the challenge that you're facing right now. If you can find an answer, great. That's where we do, right? Move on and do whatever you need to do, because you have 1,000 of things that you need to deal with when it comes to meta advertising. But if you cannot find an answer, don't worry. All you need to do is just post your question as a comment on any of my YouTube videos. And what I'm going to do is on the following Sunday, I'm going to screenshot your question and I'm going to answer your questions live. All right? So yeah, just in case you have something urgent or you have something that is more private, you want to have a private one-on-one session with me, you can actually use this QR code to book a one-on-one session with me. So this is essentially where you can book a 30 minutes or 60 minutes call via Zoom. So what we will do is we will do screen sharing. It's going to be a one-on-one call, and you can ask questions. We can look into your campaign structure to see if there's anything worth optimizing, or we can even look at the numbers, because I always like to say starting advertising is the easiest part. Everybody with Meta Ads account can start running ads anytime, right? But then again, is it working? What's working? What's not working? That's the next questions I believe every Meta advertisers must be asking themselves. So what I do and what I do best in the past 5 years or so, in fact, I've been running agencies since 2010, but in the past 5 years, I've been really specializing in optimizing campaign meetings. I work with brand owners, meta advertisers from all around the world to analyze the campaign and find optimization opportunities, which means my advocation is very simple. We shouldn't be making meta ads decision based on gut feeling, because a lot of people, when a campaign is not working, and so-called, according to them, stop working, they just turn off the campaign and start all over. But in my opinion, do you know what stopped working? Or is it really stopped working? Or is it because of the time, because of the seasonality, or is it because of the behavior shift? My advocation is very simple. We must know what went wrong in order for us to know what to fix in the future campaign. Otherwise, you're making decisions based on gut feeling. So the best way to do that is through analytics. So yeah, I've developed a system where we have a set of numbers to look at, and that's how we make decision based on the number given. And yeah, we build a plan and we optimize one variable at a time. So that's what I do. So if you've been running ads, you've been like trying to figure out what worked or what doesn't on your campaign, scan this QR code. We can actually have a one-on-one Zoom session to go over that and see how we can take your campaign to the next level. All right. So yeah, so that's what we do. Now let's go to the questions. Now the first question is coming from Icon Sky. So the question is really regarding, like the profile verifications, or the question is it best to create a profile that matches your document name and then make the profile an admin to your page? Will help your identity process faster. So, okay, in my opinion, very simple. If you want to make sure that you are safe, because when you're running ads, especially if you run ads, at one point, Meta may ask for a so-called ID verification, which means they'll ask for an ID to prove that this is a real account that you are representing. The reason why they want to do that is because they want to really fight fraud, because there are so many fraud and scammers and whatever out there, and they want to keep really Meta advertising a safe place. So yeah, expect that, especially if you run ads. So yes, the quick answer to you here is yes. It's best to create a profile that matches your document name, so that if you run ads down the road, everything is going to be fine for you. However, what you're asking here is, do you need to create a new profile? Because if you are already an admin to the page, you may not need to create a new profile. All you need to do is you make sure that your current profile matches the document name. So in the future, if that happens to you, you have the ability to provide a document that proves that this is real you. That's what it needs to be done. However, if your profile is restricted, it's because the last part of the question seems to be a little bit vague, because I do not know whether you are in a identification issue era right now, as in like a lot of people, they may face a similar situation. I've seen a lot of my clients because their profile name is not the same as their document name. So they kind of like hit a roadblock in terms of verification. But if you already are facing that issue, it's not wise to create another profile to do that. Because, yeah, but then again, because I've not experienced a business manager or business portfolio now that has two admin with the same name, meaning your current account, which is, let's say, David Lau, for example, which is Ben. But then again, you create another David whatever, that really matches the document name, and come in and say that, oh, I'm now another David, which is, I'm not sure whether that works. So if you have a profile and you have used that document and all that, I would say if you want to really start fresh, and if it's not that necessary to have the same business manager ongoing, I always recommend that you create a new profile, warm it up a little bit for 2 months, and then after that, then you can create a new business manager if that route works better. But if you really need to get started running ads again, and your profile is being restricted, if that's the case, I will still go back to my usual route, which is create a new business manager using your friend's profile or your family's profile. That profile has to be aged. It's not supposed to be something that you newly created, because the key here is any profile needs to be aged. The longer it is, the better it is, in order for you to make sure that you are able to avoid all these complications. But then again, yeah, if that's a situation, create a new profile, and then, have a friend's profile helping you to create a new business manager, create a new page, create a new ad account, start running ads. And your new profile, okay, if you want to add it back into it, yes, make sure that, the profile matches your ID. And then after that, warm it up for 2 months first before adding it to the new business manager. That's the better route to go. So that's what I recommend you to do. So yeah, just to make sure that we avoid any complications, because to be frank, it seems like based on my, YouTube video analytics, it seems like the searches about account ban issue or account restriction issue seems to be rising again. So I bet this could be some situation where, more advertisers are facing at the moment. So yeah, that's what happens to you, then that's my recommendation. Anyway, it will be best if we have a one-on-one session to truly understand your current situation. If I did not answer your question, I would recommend that you use this QR code to book a one-on-one session with me. And then we can actually have a screen share, have a Zoom call, and then we can really go through the questions, go through the situation, and see what are the best routes for you to, hopefully navigate carefully to, get yourself back into running Meta ads again. So that's something that you're looking for. Then scan this QR code, and I look forward to work with you. All right. So next question. This is more like a statement because Guaranteed PPC commented on a video that I posted about account ban. So Guaranteed PPC said, if your Facebook ad account has gotten suspended and don't want to go through the entire rat race of it all over again and potentially just to have your account shut out again, consider renting an agency account. You have to pay 10%. But then again, like the account, it won't arbitrarily get shut down by Facebook once you have built a winning campaign for yourself. Now, my comment about having an agency account is based on my experience. I don't have a lot of experience, but I work with a few of my clients, which, like they got their account suspended and they rented an agency account. Usually, when it comes to this agency account, my first question is, where does this agency account from? As in, like when you're renting one, what is the origin country? Usually, you're actually renting this from some, like some interesting countries like Russia, because my client rented it from Russia, and the other one rented it from some countries in Europe, which is not originally from, let's say, if you're running ads from US or UK, because the thing is, these agencies account may be created to run any specific ads. And when they're being used to run different ads, it may not work that well. Because what happened to most of these clients who rented an agency account is that the performance is really way off. For some reason, CPM is really off. Even you use the same targeting and all that, like you don't really see normal numbers coming in anymore. As in, like the CPM is fluctuating. It's not as the same as it is. And then, like all the metrics, even the end result is not as good as that. For some reason, this is my limited experience with agency account. So that's the first thing. And second thing is, the agency account doesn't own by you. So essentially, if one day it gets shut down or whatever, you are not having something to fall back to. So even though now you're in any situation that you might want to get started running ads again real quick by renting an agency account, I do not go against the idea, but I just wanted to share with you my experience, my limited experience working with clients who did. But another thing here is, my argument is you don't own the account. Essentially, you won't be able to fall back to it for the long run. So in my opinion, you should be having yourself controlling the account and everything if you are truly serious about running ads in the long run. So I wouldn't say that it's a rat race all over again and all that. You may get banned and all. So it's just a hearsay. Always understand why Meta bans your account is because you probably did something wrong. Let's put it this way. Or they really sometimes can funnily close your account or shut down your account for some reason. But if you properly go through the process, following the steps, everything should be fine. But the key here is you have this account owned by you. In the future, I always recommend that if you run ads on Facebook, you want to build a relationship with Meta in the long run. So the longer you run ads on your account, Meta will rate you as, like a credible advertiser, credible profile, valuable client, good business portfolio and all that. And in the long run, you enjoy the benefit of better support from you because everything is recorded. The ad account is owned by who, business manager is owned by who, the profile is who, and everything is actually kind of like, it's in there. It's in the system that Meta can really fall back to. And over time, I truly believe that Meta will develop a better system in the long run to really monitor the account activities and to have a better solution for all these account shutdown and issues and stuff like that. I truly believe it is still the best way to go, which is to own the account. You may call this a rat race or whatever, but as long as you're not doing anything shady, there must be a way for you to get back into running ads using your own profile that you can carry on for a long time. Imagine, like, do you want to change your so-called agency ad account every few months or every year just because, it's not yours? Because you do not know what happened to this agency account. It's owned by somebody else. Then you do not know whether one day, they will end the contract with you or whatever, but you are actually paying extra 10% or even more, some of my clients, for that, plus probably a rental fee every month to do that. So that's my take on agency account. So yeah. Anyway, let's get back to this again. If you have an account suspended, you want to get back into advertising, the easiest way and the most straightforward way is to borrow an age profile, which is, it could be your family member, your friend, or whatever. Use that profile to create a new business manager, create a new page, create a new ad account, and start running ads again. Don't worry about those old page, old whatever that has got a number of followers, because it means nothing. Because the key here is you want to get back into running ads, because that means business to you. And then kept that running. Your friend may get suspended just because Meta usually asks for a verification just to make sure that you're a real human behind this, which is fine. Like after you go through the verification, usually within 24 hours, everything's going to be back and up and running again. But at the same time, you create a new profile for yourself, and then warm it up for like 2 months at least by posting something, adding some friends and all, and then after that, add yourself back into the new business manager that was created by your friend's account as an admin. Then from there on, you will be able to take full control of the business manager, the page, and the ad account onwards from there. And then you are an admin to the new business manager. You own that. That means everything. And you'll be able to start building relationship with Meta in the long run to make sure that you get the best support and everything genuinely from Meta instead of anything else. That's what my take is on this one. But just in case, if you need help, you can scan this QR code to have a one-on-one Zoom call with me, where we can actually look at your situation to really understand what happens to your situation, whether your profile is banned, your ad account is banned, or your business manager is banned, and what are the best we take when you come across a piece of ad. Because based on the behavior, or the so-called user behavior, or the usual way of you interacting with information on Meta, on Facebook and Instagram, they know that these are the people who are likely to click, these are the people who are likely to just like the post, and these are the people who are likely to watch the video to the end. So choosing the right objective is really the key to start. So if you want sales, you don't go for engagement, and you shouldn't go for traffic neither, because sales gets better result. It gets to the better quality audience that suits your need. So that's the objective. And second part is, at the moment, you need to maintain the right structure, which is now what works for the Andromeda session as we are making this video right now, is that Andromeda wants us to build a portfolio of ads within the single ad set. So yeah, one campaign, one ad set, and more than 10 ads. In fact, that's what works best for my client right now. 10 ads, some of my clients are having about 30 ads in them, because what Meta wants us to do is to build a portfolio of ads instead of, previously we were testing which ad works better and not. We don't really look at that anymore. I mean, not to say don't look at that, but that's not the entire purpose, which is to find the best ad anymore, but to really build a portfolio of ads that may cater to the best customer journey or customer persona when they have an opportunity to present this ad to the audience. So how does it work? It's very simple. Let's say, for example, let's say if you sell kitchen appliances, if there is a mom posted a picture on Facebook saying that, oh, I love to see my son picking up baking. So if you have an ad of a young man using your product, Meta is going to show this ad to the mom and say that this is the best gift for your loved one. At the same time, if there is a father posted a story on Instagram saying, I love to see my wife and my daughter doing baking together in the kitchen. And as Meta know that this is the guy and he's into happy family, if you have an ad featuring a happy family, Meta is going to show this ad to the dad and say that best gift for your loved ones. So having a portfolio of ads means everything. And with this idea in mind, we no longer pay really strict attention to, let's say, for example, you have an ad featuring like an older couple, which is about 60-year-old. You don't say it's bad or not working just because you don't receive a lot of visits or a lot of traffic to it. Because when there are older generation, let's say, like people who are in age 50, 60 and above, when they are looking for something similar, Meta knows that they are in the customer journey or in the intent of looking for kitchen appliances, showing this ad to them would help increase the conversion rate. So that's the whole idea of having a portfolio of ads right now. So this is what I would recommend that for you, for anyone who wants to run a successful Meta ads campaign, this is the current structure or the current go-to, or maybe a simple pieces of information or some advice that I can give to you about how to run a successful Meta ads. But having said that, this is just a start. Knowing the structure and all that, but it's really important. But then again, knowing what's working and what's not working and what actions to take is really the next most important thing that I always believe every advertisers must know. So understanding the data, knowing what's working is really something that you want to look into. So if you are actually looking for someone to help you looking into that, because this is really something that I have got some, like if you go to my YouTube channel, go to the main channel, there are some training that I have on my channel that you can actually watch. I have analytics for e-commerce, I have analytics for lead gen and all that. But then again, every campaign or for every business is really unique. So yeah, the way you structure a campaign, we draw different sets of data to look at how do we judge the performance of a campaign. So if you need help, really just to quickly come in and look at your campaign that are currently running to know what's working or what's not working and quickly build a plan, I will recommend that you scan this QR code. Let's have a quick one-on-one 30-minute Zoom call. And we're going to do three things together. First, we're going to dive into your current campaign and, like to build a dashboard, or so-called, I call it the ad dashboard, with all the metrics that you need to track. Build the dashboard in your ads manager. And then after that, we will analyze the campaign metrics together. So you and I are going to look through the thing. I'm going to share with you, what's the benchmark for the CTR, CPM, and everything. And how do we make judgment like, okay, now based on these few metrics combined, I think the ad creative is not doing that well. And based on these few key metrics combined, I think your landing page needs a bit of improvement. So we will analyze, we will come up with a plan. So the plan consists of probably 2 to 3 steps to take in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then after that, with that, we are able to really experiment and test one variable at a time. And hopefully in time, we will get the campaign to do better and better over time. So if that's something that you are looking for, scan this QR code, and I look forward to work with you. All right. So yeah, that's the questions I get. Now, I think we have a bit of time. Let's go through the last question. So how to optimize Facebook ads for conversion? So when I say conversion, let's take sales conversion, for example. So how do we optimize the campaign? First thing first, I would like to introduce 2 types of optimization, which is on-ad optimization and off-ad optimization. There are 2 different types. So what do you mean by on-ad optimization? Meaning it's the ad problem. We're trying to find out whether this is the ad problem that we are having, that the campaign is not performing or it's not optimized. So first thing first, we will dive and look at a few key metrics. First, we have CTR, link click-through rate. So CTR, link click-through rate, is really the percentage of people who choose to click on your ad when they are being presented your ad. So the benchmark for CTR, link click-through rate, is 1%. So if your link click-through rate is below 0.5%, all right, that could be an early indicator that your ad is not working. So yeah, 1% is the benchmark. If it's below, by as lower than 0.5%, then your ad is not optimized. Even you got a really good result right now, meaning your ROAS is good and all that, but your CTR is at 0.5%, just imagine by introducing new ad and you move the CTR to maybe 0.755%, which is an increment by 50%. You can actually potentially get 50% more clicks, okay? Or even more add to cart or more sales by spending the same amount of money. So the ad can be the problem. So that's where. And then after that, we look at CPM. So if you are targeting a very niche audience, your CPM can be very high. So if you have a very high CPM compared to your previous campaign, then you probably want to consider testing different sets of audience targeting, because you might be targeting too niche of an audience that is being locked down to a bunch of people that your CPM is getting too high. But having said that, CPM high doesn't mean that the campaign is not working. Sometimes CPM higher, but you get better quality of results. And if you compare to other ad metrics and all that, let's say your conversion is good and all that, then it may be okay. But then if your CPM is too high and everything is still very not that great, then you probably want to consider doing these things. So CPM, I don't have a benchmark, but we usually benchmark to your previous campaign. All right. Then the next thing is the frequency. So frequency is really, we were actually looking at the number of times your audience are being presented your ad within given a period of time. Say, for example, the benchmark we always go for is 7 days. So within 7 days, if your frequency is over 2, then probably you are actually being locked down to a bunch of people that they may have clicked your ad, okay, but Meta doesn't know, right? Because you don't have any exclusion and all that. So if that's a situation that you're facing, yes, you should consider applying exclusion, meaning you probably want to exclude recent people, recent clicks, recent engagement from seeing the ad again. So that's the thing. So these are all the on-ad optimization opportunities that you can look into. But of course, there are more, but then I just give you some example. Now, on the other hand, off-ad optimization also plays a significant role. Let's put it this way. Based on my experience working with thousands of advertisers since 2010, basically more than 50% of time when a campaign is not working, it's not the ad problem. It's the customer journey, it's the offer, it's anything that has got to do with off the click situation. Meaning once a person click on the ad and go over to your website, they stop converting. So if you analyze, say for example, you have, let's say, few things to look into, just some examples. Now, you have very low conversion from link click to landing page view. Say for example, in the past 7 days, you got 1,000 link clicks, but you only landed about 300 people to your website. That could mean your website loading time needs improvement, because by improving your conversion, by improving your load time, and you are able to capture, let's say, instead of 300 people out of 1,000, you're able to capture 700 out of 1,000 now, which is actually the normal ratio. You can potentially get double the sales, don't you think? So that's the key about the off-ad optimization. So this could be a potential website loading time problem. Now, then, if you have, let's say, for example, 1,000 people who landed on your website, but only about 50 people click on that, the next button to go to the next step, like add to cart, for example, that could mean you either brought in the wrong people or your offer is not attractive at all. So changing offer first, because usually if the audience is fine, we don't argue on the audience first, because usually if the ad is all right and all that, Meta should be able to bring you the right people. But then again, when you see really low conversion from landing page view to add to cart or whatever next steps is, you probably want to consider changing optimize your landing page, changing the offer even. There are many things that you can do, but test one variable at a time, hopefully to take your campaign to the next level. So these are all the optimization things that we can look at in order to get you better conversion for your Meta Ads campaign. But then again, this is not something that I can just teach one set of things that applies to everyone, because every business is unique, every campaign is unique. So if you need help looking at your campaign and really build an optimization plan for your Meta Ads campaign, I recommend that you scan this QR code. Let's have a quick 30 minutes one-on-one Zoom call. This is where we're going to do 3 things together. First, we're going to build an ad dashboard in your ads manager with all the metrics that you need to track, that is really important for your campaign structure, your campaign framework and all that. So with all these metrics in place, it's safe in your ads manager so that you can go back to it every time. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to analyze the campaign together. You and I are going to go through the metrics one by one, and I'm going to explain to you what's the benchmark for this, what's the benchmark for that. And when we combine metric A and B together, we make certain decision. It's the ad problem, like for example. And then we'll look at other things like, if it's off-ad optimization opportunities we have, it's the landing page. I'm going to give you a list of plans. So that's the third thing we do. We're going to come up with a plan with a few things that you can optimize in the next few weeks. So then you optimize. At least you now have a plan, and you now know what's working and what's potentially not working, and you can actually follow the plan and optimize yourself one variable at a time. So this is the best way to learn. So you can choose to do this, and then after that, you run it again for a couple of weeks later, you come back and do this again. So eventually, this is really something that this is the best way I work with my clients at the moment. A lot of my client works with me on a weekly basis, but some of my clients just choose to come back every 2 weeks or a month. It's good enough. It's up to you. It's really depending on your need. But then again, this is the way where you can have a fallback. You can have another person, another pair of eyes to look at your campaign together, to bounce idea, to really find better way to take your campaign to the next level. So if that's something that you're looking for, then scan this QR code, and I look forward to work with you. All right, with that takes us to the end of this, our first Ask Jason Anything session in 2026. Well, if you have any questions, like I said just now in the very beginning, post your question as a comment on any of my YouTube videos. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to screenshot your question and I'm going to answer it live on the following Sunday between 10 to 11 p.m. Malaysia time. All right. With that, thank you so much and Happy New Year. Have a great and awesome and prosperous 2026 ahead. And I'll see you next week. Have a good one. Good night. Bye.